Hello, and welcome back to A Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast. We might need to add some little, parentheses around that. Maybe add talking about Harry Potter news on occasion, or talking about the movies on occasion, or, stuff along those lines. Anyway, we just finished up chapter 16, The Chamber of Secrets, and we get a very, very intricate snake skin and everything. I honestly have no idea. I've never actually really owned a snake. I know people that have owned a snake, and there was technically one living under my roof and everything for a period of time, but yeah, I have no idea if this is like an accurate description of what a discarded snake skin would look like after a shedding and everything.
I think it depends on how they shed.
Yeah, I think if they have like an assisted shed, like if you give them a warm bath and everything, you
like
can get it in like a full
and like rocks to scrub against.
Yeah, but I think for the most, I feel like snakes mostly it peels off in pieces.
Like when our feet peel.
It's hard to get a good full shed like that.
I mean, magic snake. Who knows?
He's got smooth, pipe walls to scrape against. Maybe it doesn't come off jagged.
I mean, fair enough. We get our we get our first discussion and stuff after dealing with the whole incident and stuff along those lines, where they finally thought of actually talking to the ghost and everything. But of course, I love how, like, exams, we're doing business as usual at the school to the best of our ability, and everybody's just sort of like, how in the world?
Exams in 3 days. What the heck? What?
On the one hand, as a kid, I could see their point. Like, how well are you going to be able to concentrate on your exams when people around you are dropping like flies? About as close to death as you could possibly get without it actually being death. And expected to concentrate on your bloody studies and stuff along those lines. Yeah, I could understand. But I also understand the teacher's perspective, where it's just sort of like the whole point of us...
teach during Voldemort. This is not that bad.
Little did they know.
Little do they know.
Yeah. I have to admit, though, the whole little discussion and stuff along those lines is kind of comical in the grand scheme. And that, like, brief moment of hope and everything, where she's got some good news and stuff.
And everyone starts coming up with their own theories, like, Dumbledore's coming back?
But my man he's got his priorities.
Quidditch matches are back on.
I mean, sure, let's go for it. We've got, 3 or 4 days left of the school season. I'm sure we can throw together all the extra matches that we...
3 days until the exams start.
I could have sworn they usually left Hogwarts not too long after.
I think a couple of days.
They have a whole week at least.
I mean, that would not necessarily be infeasible. We could have the Quidditch match with Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, and the Ravenclaw and Slytherin match the next day. Just be like, bam, 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 one right after the other. No practicing in between. You're just tossed in.
Go.
Tossed into the grinder.
Pure skill.
Last match, everybody's going to be dog-tired and falling off their brooms by the end of the match. Could you imagine, though, if, one of them ended up having, a really long one where they couldn't find the snitch, and so the match goes on for a couple of days, and it's like, look, you guys need to wrap this up. We got, 3 more matches we need to go through. Come on.
To be fair, there would have been enough time where they could have had a day in between. Like, a day between each of the matches.
Yeah, fair enough. I just felt it'd be kind of funny. That's the one thing, though.
Games.
We never actually see any of the other matches that are, the other houses participate. If it's not Gryffindor, it doesn't make a difference, basically.
Why would you go to any other houses? You're Harry.
I know, but, during
We're in Michigan. Do we care about any other football game besides the Lions?
Steelers.
As a general.
I'll show myself out.
As a general, yeah. As a general thing,
Look,
though.
at least I didn't say Ohio State.
Boo!
Agreed.
Sorry, Ohio.
No, we're not.
The hate runs deep.
Don't fake apologize.
Brandy has about as much interest in sports as I do in crocheting and everything. So I doubt she's having some fun more than anything else.
See, but you have a vested interest in the finished products. You want to steal them from me.
That's irrelevant. But I was kind of thinking and stuff that every single match that Harry goes to, usually there's some mention of the other houses actually being there. More often than not. Especially like the end of like the bigger ones and stuff at the like end of seasons and stuff. Because I think during third year everybody's there. And it always kind of feels like every single Gryffindor match basically, everyone is basically there.
That's fair. But
You know?
maybe we just don't, there's not enough time to write Harry going to all the matches. In the
other
books.
matches aren't plot relevant.
Can you imagine how long these books would be if she had a full, accurate, day-to-day timeline of fucking Hogwarts life?
But I also feel like a lot of the school looks up to Gryffindor like, take down Slytherin. It's your duty.
Yeah, well, to be honest, based off of what I can remember and stuff, there were mentions and stuff of certain teams and everything. And it sounds like, ironically enough, Malfoy's actually a pretty good seeker and everything. It's just Harry's just that much better that he just can't get that W. But yeah, I think there's some mentions and everything. But it would have potentially given us a little bit more insight into a Cedric Diggory a little earlier on, or Cho Chang. These characters
They
are
weren't relevant.
until they were, but
Yeah, exactly. They probably didn't even exist yet.
Fair. We can't give Rowling too much credit.
You know what? I wonder if that's when these names started becoming more generic and not great, is she stopped visiting that graveyard. So then she's like, new names that aren't just random dead people. Cho Chang. That sounds right for my Asian character. Yep, that makes sense.
Nothing quite like two last names. To be fair, the internet wasn't exactly thriving while she was writing a good chunk of these books and everything. So it wouldn't surprise me if she's just sort of like...
You make fun of her, but I knew someone whose name was literally Robert Roberts.
Isn't
Major.
Sergeant Major.
Yeah, because his middle name's Major, too.
Yeah.
Major, and then they had to make him a Major because they thought he already was one. So then he'd be a Major.
My dad was a bit of a practical jokester. Hey, that gave him one hell of a promotion, because if I recall correctly and everything, he jumped up like 5 ranks. So his dad definitely knew a thing or two about getting him a nice job in the military.
I suppose. I mean, look, I'd hate to be in charge of that paperwork. It's like, we already have him down for the meetings. Okay, promotion time. And sadly, that is how the American government would work.
Anything to cover our own ass rather than actually do what's right.
Right. Anyway.
So, we get the fun little comment with Wood and everything, and then who should arrive but the lady herself? Ginny actually shows up. I definitely feel for the poor girl and everything, and it's just sort of like, Percy, could you have picked anywhere else to sit the fuck down?
No, it's not even that. It's, I'm starving. If you're finished, I'll take your seat. Thanks, Ginny. And he basically arms her out of the way. Like, he doesn't even give her a choice, really. He gives her the illusion of a choice.
Yeah, why? Like, Percy never hangs out with any of them outside of this one scene.
You can't tell me there wasn't more space at that damn table.
It's not like it was one of the big feasts
weird
or
times
anything.
that he sits with everybody else instead of sitting like with the prefix, or
Yeah.
like in a position of elevation.
I think, like, Percy would sit next to them and everything. I always kind of assumed that as you moved on, you were further back and stuff, unless you were, like, a head boy or a prefect or something who was in charge of basically, like, giving the younger ones new information.
Like, your spot at the table persistently moved.
Backwards a little bit.
Or yeah.
obviously
closer or farther away from the staff.
obviously that doesn't work with Harry because he's the main character and he needs to be front and center for any images and stuff that we have for, the movie and ever. Because I feel like more often than not, unless it, we can go over that when we actually watch the movies. But it was like, dude, what the hell, man? You couldn't have been any other place.
No, he had to be there just in time to intervene from plot-relevant information to make it all about himself.
Honestly, I really do kind of wonder what would have happened if he had just exhaustively sat down. Oh, that's adorable.
Sorry, I've distracted my friends with a really cute crochet image of Houndour. It's adorable.
Doom is the evolved form.
Ah.
It's fucking adorable.
Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom.
Don't you start that nonsense with me.
I'll do whatever I want. You can't tell me how to live my life.
Poor baby. Anyway, so all I could think to myself is, at that point, I really do feel like they would have probably gone to Professor McGonagall. She probably would have turned over the diary and everything, and... I mean, it's one of those things where
And then
it's
game,
like...
set, match.
Yeah, but at the same time, now they don't really know how to dispose of it, basically, so it gets to sit up in Dumbledore's office until he figures out how to burn the damn thing. But it also means that the sword doesn't get the basilisk venom, and the frickin' snake is now alive for God knows how long, stuck in there, because
And
I
at
don't
this
think we have any Parselmouths, ever again.
And at this point, Harry and Ron haven't figured out that it's a basilisk. So as long as Hermione's petrified, nobody knows it's a basilisk.
Yeah, but if they get rid of the diary outside of Ginny's hands and everything, she wakes up, it's a basilisk. Oh, cool, neat. And they just sort of move on with their lives. It's one of those things where it's like, it wouldn't make a very exciting story, all things considered, but it definitely would have been a safer turn of events. Because once the knowledge was out and everything, they could have been like, hey, open up the door real quick. Let's deal with this thing before it becomes a problem. Somebody get me a chicken.
Rooster. Give me a rooster.
How close does the rooster need to be to the basilisk?
It must have had to have been close enough because in the movies they always depict Hagrid's hut as being really far away from the castle, but I don't know how close his hut is. Actually,
Obviously, those roosters have been crowing before, so and it probably has to be in the same room. Considering, think about how long the basilisk's been in hibernation and how many roosters have been there crowing.
yeah.
Well, they did say they were probably underneath the lake, so I doubt sound would have traveled that far down. It wouldn't surprise me if the chamber itself was directly sent down that far.
I still
And it
want to
was-
see how the crow of a rooster kills it.
It's magic.
I don't care. I want to see
It
it.
probably crows at a frequency that's harmful to its brain, and it goes into a blind rage and then dies.
Brain
Gives it a heart
hemorrhage.
attack. Brain hemorrhage, yeah.
To be perfectly honest, because I think it's probably connected to the fact that you needed to put a chicken egg underneath a toad and hatch it, and how, you know what I mean? It's part of the whole freaking process. Though to be perfectly honest, though, it was actually pretty clever to basically have Ginny go out there and strangle all of the roosters. And with her kind of snooping around, basically, and kind of playing it off as like a crush on Harry and everything, it does make her a lot less suspicious, even though she's technically the person going around doing all these things.
True. We are also jumping into the next chapter,
Because
technically.
technically we haven't found out who it is.
Yeah, we just know Ginny was kidnapped.
Oh, for God's sake, if you haven't read the book and you've gotten this far into this and everything, I certainly am sorry that we accidentally spoiled a, 30-year-old book, basically?
Yeah.
How
I'm
dare
trying
you.
to look at the actual...
For the date?
It looks like Book List Editor's Choice winner of the 1999 National Book Award, so... close.
And then we
You
have
just
Brandy
lost
checking
my
the
page.
copyright.
Well, I mean, if it won an award in
That
1999...
doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean anything.
Well, I mean, you're not going to give an
Well,
award
it means a
to
little bit.
You're not going to give an award to a book,
Text
basically.
copyright 1999. Illustration copyright 1999.
Maybe it was an award later.
Yeah, because this was June 1999 that it was.
It just depends on when the book came out.
Fair enough. But I have to admit, it is still kind of a bummer, though, that Percy basically is in some ways, more of a problem than he is an actual help when it comes to certain things. Especially considering the way his character develops over the course of the rest of the series. I have to admit, though, that, like, when they go to talk to Professor McGonagall and everything, they wanted to go, oh, wait, no, they were off to go check with,
They got their
Myrtle.
way out of Lockhart, away from Lockhart to go check with Myrtle.
Yeah, and then I think they get interrupted
They
by...
get caught by McGonagall.
And so I do love that she's, like, genuinely touched and everything. And while they kind of, like, even Harry's like, well, this is actually kind of pointless when they're there and everything, all I can think to myself is she's basically in the equivalent of a magical coma and everything. I would like to think that there is some level of, like, talking to the person and everything that would, it would do something. Like,
maybe they can hear you on a subconscious level.
you never know. I'd like to think that there's something to that. It does also make me wonder, though, if you're magically petrified, are you technically not aging?
I think we talked about that before.
We did.
We did?
We did.
Yeah.
Because, well, you know what? Hermione makes up for it next year. It's fine.
I mean, fair. That whole, Time Turner business and everything. Spoilers. But, yeah, I can, like, I do, like, that does kind of help equalize it out a little bit and everything. But, yeah, it's one of those things where it's just sort of like, I feel like the thought that counts and everything, and McGonagall actually does, get a little choked up about that and everything. It's just sort of like, even if it was basically a lie and an excuse and everything.
True friendship.
It really, yeah, like, it shows that, good
People
old Professor...
care.
Yeah, McGonagall, it really does find this heartwarming and everything, and I'm just sort of like, man, she's a good person. She's a
good
really
person
good
and
person.
a good teacher. She cares about her students. She always has.
Oh, man.
Biscuit.
Have a biscuit, Potter.
What?
Oh, man, I was going through, like, the fifth book in the series and everything, and every single time McGonagall and Umbridge got in a room together and everything, I was like, the fact this didn't make it into the movie is sad, because I would have loved to have seen Maggie
montage
Smith.
of that sass.
Could you imagine Maggie Smith in that room basically talking to Harry about his future prospects and everything, and just going off on Umbridge basically? I will get my life's mission to make sure you become an Auror, Harry. He's got about as much chance of being an Auror as Dumbledore has of coming back to the school. So, fairly good then. And I'm just sort of like, yeah.
It kind of works out, too, considering Maggie Smith's the one who got Daniel Radcliffe hired as Harry Potter.
She worked with him in a previous movie stuff along
said this boy would be perfect.
God, I couldn't... I really like Maggie Smith and everything. I could not imagine having working with her in the same sense that,
You okay?
Daniel
She
Radcliffe did.
Got scared of something.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
And then, her passing on and stuff. I've seen some of the behind-the-scenes stuff where I think she was fighting cancer at the time of, like, the last movie or something along those lines. Or she was in some sort of rough state. And you can see Daniel Radcliffe holding up the umbrella over her, and I was just sort of like...
He's always a sweet boy to her.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the younger actors that probably played in a lot of those movies, being around, all of these great actors and actresses and stuff along those lines, it's not too surprising that quite a few of them have gone on to have fairly successful careers. I mean, as much as we like, it's Harry Potter every single time we see Daniel Radcliffe. He's continued to actually portray, like, act and do other things and stuff along those lines.
She'll
to
be
some degree.
coming round the mountain when she comes. I've shown you that clip before.
I'm forgetting it because
it's from the show Miracle Workers, I think is the name of the show. I think he plays as an angel, technically. But there's one part of the show where plays a priest, and the priest, I think, gets drunk or high or something, dresses as a stripper, and dances to She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain.
I
I have
Don't
definitely
remember- I
shown you
remember
this.
that.
I am pulling a blank on this one. I feel like the only thing I remember is Daniel Radcliffe did a play or something along those lines where the character he played had a relationship with a horse, and that a bunch of like Harry
Equus.
Potter fangirls showed up basically because they knew that he apparently got naked or something in it.
Oh, a reverend, not a priest.
Look at those dead shark eyes. Does he even know where he is?
I think he's just completely out of his mind at this point.
I do not remember seeing this. Are you sure? You
I'm
could've-
sure I've shown it. For all of you out there, you should
shit!
list. You should go watch this clip.
Oh
It's
my-
great.
I did not expect to live in a universe where I saw Daniel Radcliffe
Radcliffe
shaking
twerking?
his... Yes.
Not a bad singer, though.
The fact that there are some people in the background who are actually kind of into this makes me really wonder about their sexuality.
I'm sure they're.
And that's a bit of an age gap, because some of those guys look a lot older than he does.
Well, considering it's the Old West and they're cowboys, most of them were gay anyway. It's fine.
That's a horrible stereotype. I'll
I
have you
know.
That's the whole basis of what movie.
Cowboys were stereotypes. Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah,
is
I
what
was
you're
gonna say,
thinking of.
wasn't that movie was the whole stereotype based on that?
That poor girl, man, she's looking like she's not watching the most entertaining dance I've ever seen in my life.
And then you just hear Daniel Radcliffe shouting, "Comes, got it."
I'm sure that's all it would take for him to say to
And
get a
I've
lot
never
of women
shown you
to
that
do
clip
that.
before.
I don't think so.
Huh. Well, I did a bad thing by not showing it to you, and I might have done a bad thing by showing it to you.
I'm really surprised that it took this long for anybody to notice that she had something in her hand.
Oh, yeah.
The book said she had it clenched. tight.
Yeah, but Harry and Ron were able to notice it on like their second. Like I have no idea how many times they went to go visit her in the hospital.
They finally just now noticed it.
Yeah. And it's wild that nobody did like. I mean, you know,
To be
I
fair,
mean,
it's
it's a
probably-
young teenage girl. I could imagine not a lot of people jumping at the idea of like checking to make sure she doesn't have anything on her. But I suppose after like the third or fourth victim, you probably be like, all right, well, she's petrified.
They
nothing
might
we
have
can do
thought
about
that
it.
maybe she had been holding her wand and dropped it, or rigor mortis, not dead, obviously. But
Petrified, instinct to clench your fist basically
Yeah.
when she got petrified.
also, I think the only reason Harry noticed it now, because like the few times they would have visited her, they were in shock and more upset that she got petrified. So they're not like examining her, but now they're only there so that they don't get in trouble for not being where they were supposed to be. So
Yeah, it doesn't
he has
really
time to
say.
just look at her and notice.
It doesn't really say. It just says that he was more interested in her right hand.
Because he finally noticed.
Yeah.
Whatever
it lay
book she
clenched on
tore
top
that
of her
page.
blankets, and bending closer, he saw that a piece of paper was scrunched inside her fist. Yeah, whatever book she tore it out of.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It is the exact entry format.
But still, this is the only part in the whole book series where I'm like, that's not Hermione. Why would she do that?
That's why there's credence to the theory, the film theory specifically, that it was that Draco had some idea of what was going on. Because they say that, the book he tore a page out of in...
The library.
No,
No,
not
the
in the
bookstore,
library. In the
sorry.
bookstore was Fantastic
That
Beasts,
page.
and he ended up giving her the information later.
Ah.
It's not a very solid theory.
I get the distinct impression that theory was that was cooked up by a bunch of Hermione Malfoy shippers.
Oh, almost definitely. Oh, almost positively, yeah. But I still don't ship it.
To be perfectly honest, he isn't really at his worst quite yet, because I feel like him at his worst is technically in book 3, where he's going out of his way to get Buckbeak killed.
Yeah. I just still don't think he quite understands the consequences of his actions. And I don't think he quite understands what death actually means. It's one thing to talk about, kill all the mudbloods, haha, funny. But then you see death, and then you're like, oh.
At this point, we need to take Draco out of magical school and send him back to middle school in the Muggle world to study history.
He was homeschooled.
send
Or
him to
they had
Muggle
really
Middle
expensive
School.
tutors.
Doesn't matter. He needs to go relearn history.
Between the Malfoys and the Dursleys and everything, parents who are way too overprotective have probably caused more damage to their kids than the people that are too hard on their kids. Well, maybe. I would actually be kind of curious about a psychological study in terms of what causes more damage, overprotection or underprotection.
I think the study has confirmed that it's about the same.
It depends on what damage is done. I get a lot of emails from parents, the website, and it'll every now and then you'll get one like saying like talking about like helicopter moms
Versus,
yeah, like gentle parenting or
like, being very strict.
independent parenting and like what the outcomes are usually. Not always, because a lot of the parenting techniques that they're talking about are relatively newer, so they don't have long-term studies on them. But some of the ones they are able to, like, they're able to track it back and be like, oh, you're a 30-year-old, you had this kind of parent. How did that shape you?
I was more of a latchkey kid than anything else.
Yeah.
What's a latchkey kid mean?
My mom worked, and I didn't have a dad, and we didn't always have an extra, like, parental
Child
figure.
care.
So it's
So-
lock the door.
Yeah, I come home, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I have a really hard time remembering what my mom's parental style was. Mainly because the times where my mom was being a parent were usually times where I'd screwed up in some way, shape, or form, and I was getting disciplined in some way, shape, or form. You know?
It's fair.
Because I was, more often than not, most of my memories from childhood, I was off on my own doing my
Trigger
own
warning.
thing.
Talking about trauma. Trigger warning.
Fair enough. It's not relevant to what we're talking about anyway, so I'll get back to the book.
Fair enough. I'm not trying to like dissuade you from talking about
No,
it.
no. It's completely and totally irrelevant because I couldn't. I guess like my mom was kind of off, like, independent and stuff along those
That's
lines.
fair.
It wouldn't
I would
surprise
say
me because
that-
I have a similar mentality when it comes to our kids and stuff along those lines.
I would say that like being like the kind of parents like the Malfoys, his mom, like giving into whatever they want and things causes more of a menace to society kind of trauma or like
I'm owed
behaviors.
everything.
Yeah,
The
more
customer is right.
that
That's
kind
where
of
it came
behavior.
from.
A Karen. She's
Which
raising
is
a
not
Karen.
the full statement. In matters of taste, the customer is always right. Meaning, the customer can think that polka dots with orange stripes looks beautiful, and you'll sell it to them because that's what they want.
It doesn't mean they get to yell and scream at you and tell you what's what.
Correct.
And they're not.
You should never talk a customer out of making a poor financial choice. Is what it's about.
I mean, fair enough. I can get behind that.
I mean, we've ruined a lot of those proverbs and sayings and stuff.
I mean, blood's
Whereas-
thicker than water is also
Right.
a misquote as
Whereas
well.
being raised by parents like the Dursleys, in the sense of them raising Harry, you're going to get kids who have so much trauma, and we don't have time to unpack all that.
I get the distinct impression existing is traumatic, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Have you seen our society?
Not only
We-
that, but like, did you hear like this is probably like a decade ago? Some person tried to sue their parents because I never asked to be born.
It was a lot more nuanced than that.
I didn't look into it. I was just like, wow, really?
But yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But also a lot of those cases we hear about some ridiculous suing, like, i.e. the McDonald's coffee case.
I
where,
know
like,
a lot about that one.
It's not actually that crazy. She suffered third-degree burns because the coffee was way too hot.
And they had been getting multiple claims and comments and complaints up until that point and everything, trying to get them to serve it at a lower temperature and stuff along those
Yes,
lines.
but-
In order for her to get certain medical treatment stuff along those lines, she had to sue somebody for her actual damages and stuff.
Correct. Because basically it's like, it was basically down to she just wanted coverage for medical. They wouldn't do it, so she had to actually sue.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't it so bad she needed skin grafts or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
because it was like she was an elderly woman and it was on her thighs.
yes.
Yeah, I remember today
Oh.
everybody talking about
But
that.
the problem
more-
is that McDonald's lawyers spun the media to make it sound like she's just some crazy person.
If I recall correctly, that was a jury trial. So it wasn't the judge or the system. It was other people. It was peers having from the entire story decided that what she wanted was not enough.
Yeah.
And that she deserved more for her pain and suffering than what she originally had wanted.
Right, but all
So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about that entire incident.
Because I think she only sued for like $1 million and got way more than that.
Wow.
I can't remember who sang it and stuff, but I remember a song complaining about America. It was a country song and stuff, and he made a comment about that and everything. I'm just sort of like, bitch, please.
But it just has to goes to show that when you have money to spend the media however you want, don't trust the media.
They're a bunch of
Do
billionaires.
your own research. That's why they're shutting TikTok down. One of the reasons.
To be fair, as a person who's not entirely trusting of Chinese-based companies and corporations and stuff along those lines, I understand why they're uncomfortable with it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's justified, because in my personal opinion, the amount of information that our own government basically takes about us and stuff along those lines, China, if they really wanted all the information, they could buy it off somebody, and it would make a lick of difference, to be perfectly frank. I can understand their reasoning behind it. I don't think it's a justifiable enough reason for shutting down TikTok.
Also, it's Facebook is losing money because people prefer YouTube or TikTok over Facebook.
Nothing is meant to last forever. Eventually, Facebook is going to go the way of MySpace, basically. There's always going to be some movement.
Look,
because
man, I will stay on Facebook forever if you bring back making my own homepage, decorating it out, putting down my favorite song, and having my top 10 friends. Bring it back.
All of those fun things that MySpace used to have were so cool. Yeah, you can't customize Facebook at all. I never understood why people went over to Facebook.
I know. The reason why people went over to Facebook is that it was supposed to be a more professional setting to connect with your friends and peers, and it was supposed to be quote unquote more safe to connect with people on the internet than Facebook or MySpace. So it was supposed to be more.
Then?
Yeah, kinda. It was supposed to be more like that. It was supposed to be more more streamlined like that, and then obviously we have the garbage that we have today for Facebook.
I miss you, Tom. Anyway, I remember having so much fun with like MySpace tops and stuff.
I didn't know how to code, but did I know the specific line I was supposed to do, where I was supposed to change the color of my font? Yes, because I Googled it.
I remember having so many different like little things and stuff I'd copy and paste from other places and stuff to put it in.
Gaia Online too. That was fun.
Never got to play video games on my computer. For the most part,
I always a video game.
We'll talk about it later. Where did we leave off on?
Back to Harry Potter. Chamber of Secrets. Oh, Percy. You know what? I think we left off at Percy.
No, we left off at Hermione and them
and Hermione,
figuring out what the actual...
So they've got the information. They know it's a basilisk. They know about the pipes. They know about the rooster and the spiders. Which, I realized something. Because a basilisk is supposed to be... It's a chicken egg hatched under a toad. Toads eat spiders. And maybe that's why basilisks are the mortal enemies of spiders.
I still think it's the eye thing. Spiders can't blink and they've got
too many
more
eyes. That
Maybe
too.
both.
Maybe both.
It'd be easier to... It's easier to block eyes with something that's got 8 of them than it is just a person that's got 2.
It's true.
I still kind of feel bad for this poor snake, though. I mean, could you imagine being stuck, trapped somewhere for 50 years only to wake up, get sicked on a bunch of idiots and stuff, and then to die immediately after? What a wonderful life that poor thing has led.
Right.
I'm turning into Hagrid. I feel bad for the giant killing machine. Then again, I like dolphins, and they're pretty mean.
Vastly misunderstood creature.
Actually, you know what? We don't have to feel bad for a basilisk. It is an artificially created creature, so its pure purpose is to kill. Don't feel bad for it.
And guard.
And guard. And yes, and guard.
Alright, look, my favorite creature on the new Marvel Rivals thing is Jeff the Land Shark.
Jeff the Land Shark is so cute, though.
I know, but I like certain types of spiders that I think are adorable, and certain types of snakes are also adorable in my eyes.
That's fair.
Quiet, you woman. I know you don't like either of those two things, and
She likes the crochet spiders I make, and that's it. And Lucas the spider, possibly.
They are the only acceptable spiders.
In Spider-Man, but that's completely different.
Spider-Man's not a spider.
Depending on your continuity, he could be an entire hive of them.
No.
Yes.
No.
He's called
No.
Spider's
I know.
Man.
You get out of here with that logic. I don't want it. Take us back to your parallel universe.
Get the fuck out.
But I live here.
Get the fuck
Not
out.
anymore, you don't.
I need to call up my grandparents. I need to crash at their house. I'm getting kicked out of mine.
Listen,
Wait a minute, my name's on the DVD.
I don't give a damn. We don't need any more Powerpuff Girl-esque nightmares, okay? The cockroach guy? The Roach Man? Or whatever?
Oh,
yeah.
Look, man,
No,
if there's
no.
one movie I will not watch again, it is the first Men in Black movie. Because I do not like Cockroach Bugman. At all.
I'm glad I never watched that
But
movie
it had the
then.
noisy cricket.
No.
That was so cool.
Was it a noisy cricket?
It was a little gun that was so powerful
yeah,
it
that's
knocked Will
fine.
Smith on his ass when he pulled the trigger.
Ah.
It's like deceptively small. It's like one of those little play squirt guns,
Oh, it's
basically.
a little pea shooter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a pea shooter's pea shooter.
But
And
it
I
gives
remember
the
Will
force of a
Smith being
rocket
so
launcher.
offended by having it, basically. And then he ends up actually firing it, and he gets launched so far. I think he cratered a freaking, like, car hood or something along those lines because he got hit. It had so much freaking power behind it. I was like, I think I like this gun more than I like the big giant one, to be honest.
So then they decide to go take this information to McGonagall. Like, smart move, boys.
Great job.
Holy shit, they're
Go
actually
to the
using...
staff lounge. She'll be there. Class doesn't start for the next 10 minutes.
Or
Then, of
but
course...
here's my thing. Oh, sorry. Oh, they announce that all students go back and all teachers go to the staff room.
Why did they hide?
I don't know, man.
I guess just pure instinct.
How did they know it was Ginny Weasley that was missing?
They mentioned it, like, I like to think... I don't think there's actually...
It just says
They just says her.
Yeah, it just says
skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. And then someone asks, do we know who? And McGonagall says Ginny.
Ginny Weasley. But how do they know? Because technically, Harry and Ron are unaccounted for at the moment.
Yeah, but
wandering
they're
around.
not...
Well, they were supposed to
they're
be
guys.
they were supposed to be in the
They're guys. So
hospital
obviously...
wing. But
we
yeah,
got-
they're guys.
It's her, so it knocks it down to maybe about 50-50, depending on how... You know...
Like, and they don't have a Marauders map, apparently.
It does make me wonder. I feel like there might have been, like, some sort of tidbit of information that's just
Maybe
not
she left a
talked
note.
about.
Like, a different note. Or maybe one of her brothers were saying that they couldn't find her, so they just assumed. That no, and then they asked around quickly. Found the
They
thing.
could have had the ghosts and the portraits do a roll call. You know, be like, all right,
Oh,
we need
that's
you guys
true.
to do run through here, see who's missing. And some of the posters were just sort of like, oh, there's Harry and Ron right there wandering over to this teacher stuff. And they were just sort of like, well, they asked to do a roll call. They didn't ask where everybody was actually at.
You didn't ask if they were where they were supposed to be. You just wanted to make sure that they were all accounted for.
To be perfectly honest, though, with all of the ghosts and the portraits running around, I really
It's a
do.
miracle the kids sneak around anywhere ever.
I get the distinct impression that some of the ghosts and some of the portraits are just sort of like, we ain't frickin' narcs.
I'm not a snitch.
We'll talk if somebody's in danger, but yeah.
I was looking it up, and it seems to be that they kind of deduce by, like, process of elimination, basically. But it's not directly said.
I mean, fair enough. It's not. It makes a certain level of sense, and eventually, I guess, in the end, it doesn't really make a difference because eventually they would have found out because when everybody went to bed and everything, there'd be one person missing. And to be honest, we don't really know what abilities or information the staff would technically have access to. We only go to Hogwarts as a student. We never actually get the portrayal of what it means to be a teacher and what abilities and stuff that you can call on and everything in terms of figuring out where everything is and stuff. Because they already mentioned that Dumbledore seems to, like, almost, like, psychically know what is going on inside of Hogwarts at any given point in time, regardless of whether or not somebody's actually directly told him.
Right.
And we do see him using the portraits and stuff in order to give information to different locations and stuff. So we kind of get an idea of how he keeps information going. That would be an interesting, like, short story that I would be interested in. It'd be like the day in the life of, like, Professor McGonagall or one of the other professors at Hogwarts, basically, to kind of get an idea of how it necessarily operates behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I do find it kind of baffling that they didn't jump out at any point in time to be like, hey, we know what the monster is, we know what's going on and everything, and had, like, a Hogwarts Legacy moment where you get the entire teacher, like, the
Teacher
entire
staff on an expedition.
I mean, they would need to bring Harry regardless.
Like-
you can't tell me it would have been dope
True.
as hell of Professor McGonagall, Flitwick, and some of the other
Honor
teachers
guard around Harry.
going down, basically be like, we're getting Ginny back and everything, and then them helping deal with, you know, Tom Riddle and, you know, the Basilisk and everything.
Right.
It would be...
It would have been very interesting.
Because, to be honest, we don't really get to see too many moments where the professors really get to throw down until the final book.
And really more in the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of scenes where Hagrid has issues with the Ministry during Book 6. Professor Dumbledore in Book 4 and everything, as well as...
Book 5. Hagrid has issues with the Ministry in Books 5.
Right. I keep...
In Book
I mean,
6, he's fighting off Death Eaters.
there is this... Yeah, to be perfectly honest... Oh, yeah, there is some combat in... Like, in that one and everything, where the teachers are actually active in, like, the penultimate book, in terms of, like, you know...
Right before, when Dumbledore dies.
Yeah. Because there's a whole actual fight that actually went down during that one inside of Hogwarts and everything. So, it's one of those things where it's just sort of like...
missed opportunity here, hey, boys.
Yeah, that was one of the little cool things about Legacy, though, is that during the actual climax and stuff, you're fighting along the actual teachers of Hogwarts during that time period.
Spoilers. I haven't beat the game yet.
I mean,
even
I'm not
played the
spoiling what the conflict is, it's just that the teachers are involved.
fair.
Which is a nice change of pace, considering in the books and stuff, the teachers seem to be more of a hindrance than a help at the end of the day.
That's fair.
No offense, we still love a lot of these characters and everything, but it's just sort of like... What does Professor Sprout really do outside of teaching,
Ooh.
you know...
And all the teachers fucking ganging up on Lockhart.
Oh, God.
But
Something close
you
to
know what
hate.
it is and where it is.
You said you know what the monster is just last week.
I feel like they were all just giving him shit about it because otherwise they would have forced him to do something about it sooner.
100%, because then McGonagall sent him on his way, and
They're
she's
like,
like,
great, now that he's gone.
Oh, man. If that would
God.
not break your
He's like
trust in
Booster Gold.
No, Booster Gold is actually useful. Don't insult Booster Gold.
Sometimes he's useful. I'll insult Booster Gold all I want.
He's a cool character, and he's got his moments. His story is becoming the hero that he always said he wanted to be. For the right reasons instead of the
The fame and
Lockhart
glory.
reasons. Yeah, the Lockhart reasons. Booster Gold and Gilderoy Lockhart were originally cut from the same cloth. The difference is Booster Gold grew the fudge up. But he has to be reverted back and everything, because when it comes to comics, you got to put all of the toys back into the toy chest.
You have to go back to the future one day.
Yeah, he's got.
Spoilers.
He's got to be. Everybody's got to be put back in their place, so the next writer and artist can, play with the toys and stuff along those lines. Where you get the general idea. I would hope.
Sidebar. DC, what the fuck are you doing?
We hired James Gunn. We're doing all right now. Hopefully, I've seen the new Superman trailer.
Have you seen the Harley Quinn comic that they just announced?
Oh, that's
The fart powers.
Oh, God.
Let's cut this shit out, guys.
I get the idea that it's an April Fool's comic and everything, but
I don't care.
God, that was a horrible idea. To be perfectly honest,
Would we give Joker fart powers? If you want to give Joker fart powers, don't fucking do it to Harley.
Look, I even as a kid, never really understood the humor behind
Fart jokes?
fart jokes and stuff.
Same.
And so, yeah, that and gross out humor, those never sat well with me.
Hate gross out humor.
It's why I never liked Ren and Stimpy, and why there was some scenes in certain episodes of like SpongeBob and stuff along those lines where I was just sort of like, this is just no. This is not funny. This is not entertaining to me. I just don't know. Anyway, we have the whole conversation with like Lockhart and everything, and I get the distinct impression at this point in time, like the teachers have had enough of Lockhart. They know what he is, they know what he's all about and everything, and they would just want to get rid of him. And I honestly, from what little I've dealt with, like little we've read from him being around and everything, the
I
fact
wanted
that
him gone since day one.
the fact that 2 second-year students are basically not only capable of disarming him, but bullying his ass, kind of proves that this guy was probably picked on when he was going to Hogwarts.
Well, I mean, it also goes in the whole, he wouldn't think that students would dare attack a teacher. Also, man, way to fucking, what's the word I'm looking for here? When you, like, announce your attacks. There's a word for it. I don't remember what it is. Like, way to just narrate what you're about to do. I had time to obliviate the two of you instead of just be like telling your story and then being like,
Say goodbye
obliviate.
to your memories.
He's so freaking dramatic.
Flair for the dramatic will always throw a wrench in your plans.
Voldemort!
That
He
too.
basically does the exact same thing. If he just tossed baby Harry out a frickin' window rather than trying to use magic,
Literally.
he would have gotten away with it and moved on with his life.
Look, take a page out of Odysseus's book. Drop a baby off a wall. It's cool.
That was the thing they did in Sparta.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's not from Sparta. He's from Ithaca. But his wife is from Sparta,
But
so like...
I'm pretty sure that was a thing that was legitimately done in Greece.
Yeah, it wasn't... They didn't drop him off a wall. They left him on a mountain to die.
I do have to admit, though, this is probably like the brief period of time outside of Snape trying to protect Harry in Book 1, where we actually get to see a little bit of humanity from Snape. Because he seems, while he's not like showing off like gasps and like Professor Flitwick bursts into tears and stuff along those lines.
Pull yourself together, man.
Madam Hooch like got weak-kneed in a chair a bit, and
Didn't it
you
say
know,
Snape
into a
like
chair.
gripped the chair or whatever he was?
Yeah, he legitimately seemed like he was just sort of like he seemed legitimately angry about the situation.
I wonder
himself.
if...
And it's a character that has no attachment to his past or history or anything
Yeah.
along those lines. So, in spite of all of the crap that he has done and stuff along those lines, there is some semblance of a good man.
It's possible
inside
maybe
of
he
this
was mad
grease
because
ball.
like he couldn't do anything. Let's say he did know that it was Voldemort and everything, but he has no way to help. He doesn't speak Parselmouth. He doesn't know where the chamber is. All he knows is that it is Voldemort, but he can't do shit about it.
He knows Harry's a parcel mouth, but God forbid he go to Harry.
Oh God,
Yeah.
He'd sooner die.
He'd sooner die.
And I kind of wonder if maybe, even though she's a pureblood, maybe, possibly, he just thinks of Lily sometimes when he sees Ginny.
Red
A
hair.
strong-minded, redheaded student. So maybe it like also is just like trauma.
Take the trauma out of it. Him being a teacher, I would imagine, take all of the good guy, bad guy shit out of it. I would imagine him being a teacher. Just,
Don't you fucking touch my students.
Yeah. A student's been taken to be killed. Yeah, no. We're not gonna
Not
play
in
that.
my school.
Not gonna play that game.
It does make me wonder what Snape was up to during like that final book, basically, like what he was doing and how he was handling being in charge of Hogwarts, being its headmaster, trying to keep the students in line and everything while still towing the line with Voldemort and everything, and trying to keep the other teachers that are actually good people from accidentally getting into too much trouble with the Death Eaters and stuff.
Yeah.
The balancing act that he would have had to go through during that final year
No
of
wonder
his
that
life,
man wasn't drunk every night.
I could easily see him finally
I wonder-
curling up, looking at the picture of Dumbledore and being like, this has been way more than I ever wanted to deal with, and I hate you.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck
And
you.
Dumbledore's picture is flipping him back off. He's just sort of like, you wouldn't be in this position if you hadn't ratted out your best friend to begin with, you asshole. You've got no one to blame but yourself. Fuck you.
Your best friend?
Lily.
Lily?
Oh, yeah.
He's the one who overheard
Yeah, yeah.
the prophecy that basically got Voldemort on their ass to begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah. No,
So
it's
he's
okay, it's-
legitimately got no one to blame but himself
Yeah.
for his own position. But at
I
the same
wonder-
time, I can feel some empathy having to be this.
How many
double
times
agent.
did Snape have to obliviate the fucking 2 Death Eaters that were teachers at Hogwarts to make sure that they didn't rat out the other teachers to Voldemort?
A lot.
Oh
A
god.
lot.
I couldn't imagine, because apparently they had classes in terms of the dark arts where they were torturing other students and stuff.
Detention was torturing students.
Oh god. I know
Students
for...
torturing other students.
I don't think McGonagall would have been able to sit back and just let that happen over the course of a year. Not to mention Luna got abducted. God,
Right off the train.
I could only imagine that some of the teachers were probably wondering to themselves why in the world they hadn't gotten attacked at some point in time. There had to have been something inside of the heart of Voldemort or something where he gave a little bit more leeway to the teachers and professors, basically.
Snape or Voldemort?
Voldemort, because thinking about it and everything, a good chunk of the people that are Hagrid, I don't think Hagrid quit. I think he was still
Hagrid was
technically...
in hiding with the Giants.
All right.
Like, he and
McGonagall
Dumbledore
was
were
part
on the
of
run.
the Order, though, and she was still allowed to teach, basically, at Hogwarts. So it does make me kind of wonder...
Which is hilarious because actually, if you look up,
Because I asked earlier about her age.
you asked if she was
when
in
she-
school with Riddle, which she wasn't. She was 5 years ahead or 5 years behind. I forget which one, but she's half blood.
That's true.
Her father's a Muggle, so that's really surprising.
But they were more lenient on, I think, half-bloods as long as you could prove you had one wizarding parent. You were still lower-class scum, but you got to stay within you got to keep your magic because you could prove you had magical parentage. If you were, it was more the full Muggle-borns that were the ones who were like, no, you stole your magic.
Yeah. She's right. She's right. But they didn't really go into too much detail in any of the books.
But it
basically.
is crazy that
I
she...
100% believe it. My mind went down the, we really did read a Nazi story. Because that is 100%. I just was listening to a video today. I found out a little bit more about World War II, and that was 100%. They had 100% Jews, 100% Germans, and then the half-breeds, level 1 and level 2. No, it was... There were German word
classifications.
that meant, like, mongrel, basically. Level 1 and level 2.
Yeah. I mean, they also had a lot of, like, if you weren't German at all, you got thrown into camps, too.
I think anybody with a darker skin tone, and I also believe the ethnic group Gypsy were also tossed in there as well. Any type of sexual orientation that wasn't straight was also tossed in
Racial
there.
slur, Gypsy. Let's be clear here. Gypsy is a slur.
What is
Ironically enough,
Romani.
Romani.
is
I was like, I
usually
knew
what
it was something that was in our...
Yeah.
that baffles
But then again,
me
I'm
so
pretty
much.
sure that if you're Romanian, some Romanians are offended by that. I don't know. It's a little more common. But gypsy itself is a slur. That's why when you say you got gypped, it's a slur too.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that's where it came from? It's like, oh, I got gypped. Like, you got ripped off by gypsies because they were considered thieves. Yeah, that's where that term comes from.
Okay, my brain right now is still processing this information.
Yeah, because it's. I'm pretty sure when you spell the word gypped, it's actually spelled Gyped.
Huh. As an American, that's not really something that popped up in everything.
Etymology. Study of language with friends.
Etiology?
Yeah, that.
All right, there, Tolkien.
You're welcome. But yeah, no, in America, it's not as. I think.
I mean,
We had our own racial things to go on here in America.
That's true, but also I'm pretty sure that it wasn't as big of a thing in America.
oh no, we had problems with the Irish. It was Irish people and anybody that wasn't white, basically, was the problem. So if,
I don't think Scots were looked upon too fondly either. If you look too Irish.
It was the Irish specifically and
I know.
everything, which, to be perfectly honest, talk about a people that had gotten royally screwed over and everything. They got more of a reason to hate the British than we do.
Potatoes.
I was gonna say, I feel like it was the potato famine that sent a lot of Irish over here, and that's probably why we didn't like them.
Yeah, they were.
But that
they were
didn't-
probably going and taking a lot of jobs and stuff over here, which is part of the reason we probably didn't like them during that period of time, because we have the apparent. We do not believe in any of this nonsense. To be perfectly honest, we're discussing this in a historical sense.
Yeah.
Because honestly, being
I like
Irish
the
sounds kind of cool.
I am part Irish.
I'm a mutt. I have no
Same,
idea.
I think.
I know I'm what, but
And even though I'm mostly German, I also don't necessarily agree with, the not so nice party.
The not so nice part.
listen, a lot of
I don't know the
Germans
way
don't
that
either.
the way that was phrasing is almost I don't know, something about it
I
just
watch
tickled
too much
me.
TikTok, okay? And they flag you sometimes for saying things, so it's the not so nice party.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say unaliving yourself either. We have to use.
No, you have to say unaliving yourself.
Well, people know what I'm saying because people who are on YouTube.
You
quite a
can't
bit.
use this. You can't use the sewer slide word.
Yeah. Huh.
I spend way too much time on TikTok.
That's some pretty clever wordplay, actually.
Sewer slide.
Yeah, I have to admit the human's
Confused
ability
by that one.
to
You'll have to explain it to me later.
Fair enough. But yeah, we
That doesn't make sense.
let's try to get back on track. We're like almost an hour in and everything, and it's 10:33. I went to go see a movie with my daughter and everything, so that's why we're running a lot later than normal.
Not that any of you will know, but we know. Also, the fact that I never understood why they took Lockhart with them. They're just like, no, we're not letting you out of our sight.
Meat shield.
Didn't even think about that till later.
To be perfectly honest, though, it probably was a smart move in the sense that he'd go rat them out the second he got the opportunity to run away.
Probably, but also I feel like
Or he'd try and claim credit for it later somehow.
100%. But also, I'm thinking, okay, Harry and Ron are going to rescue Ginny, Ron's sister. With as much at some point that Harry's basically a sibling in that family, that's his sister too. In half the stories, they're both like, "You said you were gonna save her. Go fucking save her."
Even if we have to have our wand at your
You know
back
what?
in order to get you to do it.
I bet I have a. They took him with him in case they ran into another teacher.
Maybe.
That wouldn't necessarily be a bad thought process. Though to be perfectly honest, I feel like the teachers probably would have gotten away. I feel like, yeah, you know what? That's fair. He seems to be teacher repellent. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah.
Since nobody in that staff room liked him.
And if they're hiding behind him,
He's taller. Meat shield.
they're hiding behind him so they wouldn't see that he's being. So the teachers don't see he's being threatened.
I do find it hilarious though that Lockhart, one of the most inept teacher outside of Umbridge herself, is responsible for Harry's signature spell.
Snape's
roundabout.
roundabout, yeah.
I mean,
Because
they do end up actually crediting him. I think it was
They
either in the
literally-
movie or in the book or something.
It-
Ron's like Ron or Harry says directly to his face, "You shouldn't have taught us that." one."
No, they say in here you shouldn't have let Snape teach us that
one.
spell.
Yeah.
Harry says it.
All right.
Though I do think he's correct. I think they do say it again in the third movie, or in the third book, that they do say shouldn't have taught us that one. I think it is a line that's reused. I think Mitch might be right on this one.
But if you're
End of
right.
the world as we know it. I'm me agreeing with Mitch, right?
I know. I feel like that is in book 3 when they attack Snape. Shouldn't have taught us that one.
Yeah.
I'm just misquoting. I do like the idea though.
But
that at the end
they
of
definitely do say it in this book.
Yeah. The funny thing is though, when he goes and explains how he goes and does his thing with the memory charms and how he writes the books and everything, we were discussing it, and I'm like, there was an ethical way for him to do what he was doing and everything. He just needed to pay people the right amount of money in order to do it.
Yeah, be like,
He
hey,
didn't
I'll
need-
pay you royalties. Just like let me be the face of what you did, and you'll get royalties for it.
Yeah, because we
Ghostwriters.
we were getting the distinct impression that he enjoyed the fame more than the work, more than anything else. If he
Or the
had
money.
enough finances from how popular his books were and everything, he could have gone on to actually been a successful writer in the face of all these heroic things without necessarily needing to be an ass about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
But, like, that would involve him thinking. So, his thought was straightforward. Me. I did it. Get rid of the evidence. Got it. What can I do? Obbliviate? Obbliviate.
to
That's
be
what I know
fair,
how to
maybe
do.
not everybody would have agreed to letting him do that and everything. But at
True.
the same time, it's made almost abundantly clear by like this book and the other book he shows up in. Most of the people that were reading his stories and stuff just liked his face. He
Yeah.
was pretty, and they just liked the idea of this pretty person being super heroic. He probably could have made up all of the stories involving all of his magical exploits, and it wouldn't have made a damn difference, and he wouldn't have had to hurt anybody.
And then we've discovered social media.
Yeah, God knows how many people are faking being rich online, basically.
Well, and the fact that like it looks more impressive when you see a celebrity doing things for impoverished nations than, everyday people.
Yeah. Me and Brandy go helping people and working at a soup kitchen isn't exactly going to be making headlines, regardless of how successful and good we are
Right,
at
but
it.
Daniel Radcliffe showing up at a soup kitchen, all over the news.
Well, not the news I would read, but, fair enough. But, yeah. I do have to admit, though, that it's just sort of like this whole like situation and everything with Lockhart. It's like you could have done this so much more ethically. And, yeah. Oh, there it is. Shouldn't have let Professor Snape teach us that one, said Harry furiously, kicking Lockhart's trunk aside. Yeah. So, they end up finally going to Moaning Myrtle and everything. It feels like it took them for frickin' ever. You would think that there would have been a boys' bathroom not too far away from the girls' bathroom, and at any point in time they could have been just like, Professor, I need to go use the restroom and everything, and since it's so dangerous, can I bring my best friend with me, buddy system and all that? And I feel like they could have gotten away with it and everything, and gone to the bathroom on the second floor, and then snuck over to go see Myrtle.
Yeah. Good thing all the teachers were busy in the teachers' lounge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Moaning Myrtle
Yeah.
getting excited about her
Talking about her
talking
death.
about her death. And like I said, man, nothing beats how she says a great big pair of yellow eyes in the movie. Like, look, she may have been an adult woman playing a child, but she played it well.
To be
Yeah.
fair, I saw somebody make a comment saying this is like, I could have sworn that was Daniel Radcliffe in drag and everything.
Yep.
And
remember
I
seeing
still
that
can't
comment.
get that image out of
Nope.
my head.
Doesn't help that they gave Myrtle the same fucking glasses.
Yeah. Look, if you wear glasses, there's in the Hogwarts universe apparently there's two pairs. You get round or half moon. That's it. Unless Rita Skeeterhead.
I don't
Red.
think she needed
Sorry,
her
there's three.
glasses. I think those were more decorative for her than anything else.
Yeah, 100%.
Although yeah, in the book, I'm pretty sure they mentioned that she has horn rimmed glasses. They're Myrtle, I mean. But anyway,
Yeah, they're going through the whole process. This feels like deceptively easy for them to figure out. Like as soon as this chapter runs through and everything just starts clicking into place. And all I could think to myself was how smart Dumbledore is and everything. It's shocking that he never quarantined this bathroom, basically. He's like, well, I can't do anything about it because I can't speak Parseltongue. But damn it, I could lock this bathroom
Let's
up
be real.
permanently.
Last book we said that Dumbledore probably set everything up for Harry, so he probably saw this all coming from somewhere and went, Harry's a Parselmouth. He'll figure it out.
I mean, fair. It's just one of those things where it's like, at the end of the day, God dang it, man, these teachers need to get their heads out of their asses.
yeah, maybe a little bit.
Because, as a parent, I could not imagine setting up a scenario where my daughter could be in a mortal frickin' peril and stuff along those lines, and not being like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lol.
We also, we get the moment where they run across the actual snake skin and stuff along those lines. And how much of a panic that was at first and shit. It was like...
Which is impressive because
Oh my god, I see something.
snakeskin is pretty translucent. And I had a thought while we were talking about the picture at the beginning of the chapter. Kimmy mentioned that snakeskin sheds in pieces. It's almost like when you get blisters or sunburn It's not like it comes off in one big thing. Usually.
I have to admit though, this is also one of those scenes where them stealing the car is relevant and important to the plot. Because Lockhart stealing Ron's wand that broke during that
The
accident and
broken
stuff
wand,
is the
yeah.
reason that both Harry and Ron aren't freaking memory lost
Yeah.
and have to redo the first couple of years of Hogwarts, basically.
Or be in St. Mungo's.
I did look it up just real quick about the snake thing. As long as the animal is in good health and there are no tears in its skin, and the temperature and humidity conditions are ideal, its skin should shed in one piece.
I didn't say it was impossible.
No, I know. I'm just thinking about Michigan and rocks. Like I feel like that it would tear a lot. But like, yeah, I was like, who knows?
Yeah, but we get the separation and everything. It is kind of amusing that it does take forever for Hermione and Ron to actually run into any version of Voldemort. Because they both get prevented from meeting him in book 1.
In
book 2, Hermione's petrified, and Ron
Ron's
gets
stuck to
separated.
Lockhart. Book 3
On the other
was
side of
not
the rocks.
Voldemort.
Yeah.
Book 4, Harry was teleported with the port
Yep.
key.
Yep.
Cedric met him.
Yeah, he
Sort
died.
of.
Nah. No.
He didn't formally meet. They were
He
both
heard
in the
him.
same room. And then he died. I mean, same space? I mean, I wouldn't exactly say if you and another person went to the same same graveyard and everything, you necessarily ran into each other. But at the same
Right.
time, they were close enough. Honestly, I think Hermione and Ron both get knocked out during their time at the Ministry. So I don't think either of them were
It's
actually
either that
there.
or they were all busy with everything else and Harry ran after...
Yeah,
Harry ran after Bellatrix and then Voldemort showed up.
right. And I think the only person that was still there and actually in any decent condition was Neville. But I can't remember. But his feet were jinxed or something along those lines. 'Cause
Jelly.
he had- yeah.
Jelly Lake's Jinx, I think.
So
Or no, it was
he may
the
have
dancing
he may
one?
have gotten witness to Voldemort and everything. Let's see here, and then book 7, Voldemort
6.
doesn't
That's-
book 6 does Voldemort doesn't really make any serious appearances.
So yeah, they didn't really...
Run into him until like the final book,
Yeah, the
basically
battle.
during the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yep.
Weird.
I think
gosh.
Hermione ran into them when
think
they
the-
were escaping that one lady's room because he was on his he might have been only on his way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did
The
not meet. They did not.
Closest they had to a one-on-one with Voldemort is Ron when he attacks the locket.
Oh yeah.
That's the closest that they have to a one-on-one with Voldemort before Harry defeats Voldemort in the final
Yeah.
book.
At that point in time, they were in the Great Hall, basically, so they all would have had gotten...
Everybody saw.
Yeah. Ironically enough, that it was their final confrontation was the one that actually had some serious witnesses to it, outside of the Death Eaters themselves in Book 4.
Book 5 had witnesses.
Yeah. The Order of Ministry, I guess.
The ministry
Order.
showing up for work and be like, Voldemort? Dumbledore? What the fuck?
Voldemort's back? Nah. Harry's full of lies.
Oh shit. There's Voldemort right there.
Yeah, we get the last entrance into the main area, and we kind of cut off from there, basically, before we get to... I think either the final... no, second to last one.
I do like how when Harry opens the sink entrance, he finally hears the parcel tongue, finally. Like, he hears that he's making hissing noises.
It is kind of... It's like, to be perfectly honest, though, I wonder if it's because he's not a natural parcel tongue and everything that he doesn't necessarily realize what he's doing and can't necessarily activate it at will.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's one of those things that just takes practice to activate at will. But it might also just be a magical ability where you had to have a snake around. Because when they go through the flashbacks in book 6, there's a dead snake on the door. So that
And
they
I
can
think
talk in parcel tongue.
I think one of them was actually... I think it was... one of the younger Gaunt, he was actually playing with the snake in the room basically while they were talking in parcel tongue.
Yeah.
So it does make me wonder if there's some requirement of having one physically around and everything in order to actually be able to say it. It does make me wonder, like, did somebody invent the skill that was like one of Salazar Slytherin's, ancestors or something, or if this is something he figured out on his own? Like, I know in the magical world it's considered a sign of being a dark wizard and everything, which I personally don't believe that is any, I think you can be a good person and, and actually have the skill. I don't
Yeah.
I feel like it's a stereotype in universe and everything.
Well, of course.
But
I think
I
it's
do
mentioned briefly in Fantastic Beasts, so when we read it, we can go check there. I think it might mention the origins of Parseltongue.
fair. But as an individual, I would have so many questions about how that would technically work and operate and everything, and how that would have originated to some degree. I would definitely, I would love to have gone down the rabbit hole on this one to see if I could recreate the ability and see if I could actually learn it in its entirety and pass it down through my
True.
genetics, or if I would have to teach other people in order to learn it like an actual language.
That's a good question.
There's so many little things and stuff. Would you have to have an association with snakes, like with Salazar Slytherin being so associated with them already and stuff along those lines? If he gained it because of that association, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
Could he speak to snakes and ergo the snake became his icon, or did he have an attachment to the snake and gain the ability to to use this language later?
I would argue that he probably gained or he was born with the ability, and it might have been just a symbol of his house. Because it's not like his name was Salazar Slytherin, so his family had been Slytherin for generations, unless he changed his name to the first Slytherin.
That sounds like a bit of a pun. He was the first Slytherin.
The first Slytherin.
Slytherin in what?
Huh?
That was a joke.
Oh.
The first Slytherin in what?
I'll show myself out.
Fair enough. We're in for an hour and 11 minutes at this point in time. We've gotten horribly off topic and stuff.
As we do.
So let's plug our shit and get the hell out of here. I'm
Alright.
tired.
You can find me at Luna's Creation Corner on most social media. I'm testing out Lemonade and what's the other one I'm looking out? Or testing out?
Mayhem?
Blue Sky.
Oh, Blue Sky.
And I am working on my shop on Mayhem Market.
You can find me on YouTube under Brandywine Stitches or on all the other socials at Hockeytown Candle Co.
Cole Sanders on Twitch and Star Wars Dude 1980 8/22/1991 on YouTube. My birth year might not actually be on there. My mom gave it to me a long time ago, and I just can't be bothered at this point in time
Look
to
at
get
the
rid of
links
it.
below.
Fair enough. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube and everything on my own thing, where you can see the face for radio in full high definition image.
As Alistair said, this face was made for radio.
And I got a voice made for print. Anyway.
Ouch.
I mean, I've listened to my voice. I cringe and curl up a little bit. That's why there's not any editing done, to be perfectly honest.
Yep. This is raw, unedited audio because I don't want to listen to my own voice. Hopefully you guys like my voice, though.
Compliments are always appreciated. Anyway, so, anyone want to sign us out? Or should I?
Until next time, keep your wands at the ready.
Peace.